And a very good evening to all my viewers. It is right now Tuesday, April 18th, 2023. It's approximately 7:04 p.m. Eastern. And we are here in Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue in the West Island of Montreal. And this is specifically the western tip of Montreal. And this here is facing to the west. This is facing more or less to the south. And this is facing east, and this is facing more or less to the north. And I came here tonight to get some footage of this. This here, of course, is the St. Lawrence River. And this area here is sort of Lac St. Louis, Lake of Two Mountains. This is mostly Lake of Two Mountains down here. Lac St. Louis sort of that way. And it's all part of the St. Lawrence River. But nonetheless, we do have some water levels that are continuing to rise. And that's because of the spring melt and some warm temperatures we've been having lately. Basically, the water is taking on more precipitation and it can sweep out to the ocean. And basically, the ocean's that way, the water flows that way. Any precipitation that falls in Ontario, any precipitation like rain, snow, or ice buildup, basically melts, makes the water level rise, and we get the effects downstream here in Montreal, specifically the West Island. And when things return to normal and the spring melt ends, well, that's when the water levels slowly go down to normal. But for now, I'm just doing a walking video. I did a live stream covering the high water level already. If you want to watch it, it's on my live section of my channel. You'll see it. And to give you an idea, look at the rapids down there. You can see it from here. And to show you how high the water is, well, here's an example. Look at this. Right there, you're usually able to walk on. That's where the ships anchor. Not the ships, but the recreation boats. Used to be ships that came here. This was a shipping canal for container ships and freight ships. I think in the early 1900s to 1950s, more or less. But then it got replaced with the St. Lawrence Seaway, which is down there. So yeah, this is the Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue boardwalk. A special shout out to a good friend of the channel, Jack, a Bass Guy Show. I will put a link in my description to his website and also to his YouTube channel. And he does a show every Friday from 2 p.m. Eastern onwards. Great music, great bass guitar, and comedy, entertainment. Good friend of the channel. I like these benches. They kind of put it, these are, I guess, pieces of wood, and they put like this laminate on it, which is coming off a bit, but nice idea. I got some giant flower pots here. So anyways, in 2017 and 2019, when we had the floods, we had a big flood in 2017 and a big flood in 2019, kind of similar. And the water basically was so high it was coming over this, and you can see it coming over. So just to give you an idea, I don't know what's going to happen this year. It's too early to say. I know this town and a lot of other towns are on flood watch, so it all depends on how much precipitation was going to fall in the coming days and weeks, and also how much I guess you can say how much wind we're going to get, because the wind pushes the water on shore, and also depends on the temperature, because there's still a lot of ice. You got to understand, you can't see it here, but there is still ice, and some of it is thick. We didn't get a lot of snow this winter. It was a little bit above average, but the problem is the high temperatures we just got. It was up to 25 degrees Celsius earlier last week. So what that did was, because of the high temperatures, rapidly melted all the ice, and that's why we had the water level go up. And now the next thing to watch out for is rain. Usually in spring we do get a lot of rain, so got to keep an eye on that. So anyways, we're gonna walk here for a bit on the boardwalk and see some old buildings, and we'll go back to the water later maybe. We're walking in the east direction. Very old town, very English town. There's the Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue Town Hall. They used to have a tower up above it, I think, at one time, but they took it down. There is a water tower in this town as well. Beautiful water tower that recently got repainted. And if you're wondering, I am indeed filming in wide angle mode. I'm using my wide angle lens. So I don't do many walks with using wide angle. I decided to do this one. And the good thing about wide angle lenses is because it's such a wide field of view, basically picks up more. So it picks up more scenery on each side. And the image quality isn't that bad. I guess the regular camera, the 1X camera, is the best quality, but this one's not bad. And you could still zoom in occasionally if you want to. These are for the Coke machines, if you're wondering. Coca-Cola machines, Pepsi machines, the ones they have in the restaurants. That's how basically it works. They have these boxes, and I guess there's syrup in those boxes, and it goes through these pumps here and mixes with water, and that's how you get your soft drinks. It's basically syrup and water. Very nice old buildings here. Some restaurants that have been here for a while. Some are new, some have popped up. You got also the Uniprix here. This is the drugstore. And by the way, the thing about Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue, a lot of the buildings are old, but at the same time, a lot of the buildings have been renovated over the years. Some have even burned down. But overall, the town has managed to keep its look, that old style look, and it's a relic, it's a gem. And I've said it many times, one of my favorite places to come visit is Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue. So let me tell you, if you live in Montreal or you live near Montreal, check it out. Very easy to get to. I've said it so many times before. You just have to take the 211 from Lino Gru Metro Station. It's the first stop, and you get off at the last stop, and you just walk into town. I remember very clearly my first time coming to Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue was in 2006. I think it was June or July 2006. It might have been May, but it was 2006. And yeah, it's the first time I came here. Well, actually, my mistake, it might have been 2005. But anyway, it was around 2005, 2006. It was a nice day. Came with a friend, and they had the Lakeshore Duck Race here. They used to put a bunch of ducks in the river, and they would race them. It was for the Lakeshore Hospital Foundation. Here's a look at yours truly, myself. Nice mare. And as you can see here, getting longer again, time to get it cut. There's a Metro grocery store delivery van. And what do we have here? We have an EXO minibus, Transbus. Shout out to Julian and Ben. There's a bus, that's the 35 route, but there's the bus registration 376. So that's belongs to Transbus, which leases their buses to EXO. And EXOs are basically the buses that run around the outskirts of Montreal, basically the suburbs. In Montreal, we have the STM. And here's the Couche-Tard, by the way. This is a very well-known convenience store. In Ontario, it's known as Circle K. In Montreal, here in Quebec, it's known as the Couche-Tard. And yeah, they have that famous owl logo. And they're based here in Quebec. There's the Couche-Tard. Beautiful, I think this used to be a gas station, so it's beautiful how they preserved the look of the building. Used to be a gas station, according to Jack. And here, this used to be a post office. Used to be a post office. And we're coming up now to Adesso Pizza, where I just may stop in for a slice. I might get a bite here. Pause the video. We'll cross here. And then we'll head down to where the 211 bus stop is, the McDonald terminus. And there's a little park there by the water. We'll check that out. And I'll probably make this my Wednesday walks video for tomorrow. So tomorrow's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, April 19th. This is Tuesday, April 18th. Hey Jack, look at this. They actually have, is that a bass guitar up there? Here, advertising for Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue. And we got the bass guy show in here, in this town. Amazing. Coincidences? I don't think so. This is the old marina. This used to be where a lot of the boat equipment was. Boat repair happened in here. And now this building's for sale. And actually closed last year. And over here is where you can really keep an eye on the water and get an idea of how high it is and how deep it is, because, well, when I was here covering the floods in 2017, 2019, I think it came right up to here, right past this sewer, a little bit past, and that door was covered, and that door was covered up in water. That white thing floating there, I don't know if that's a drum, a garbage drum, or that might be, I think it's one of these things. The reason I'm curious is because when I was covering the floods here a couple of years ago, we used to see garbage cans floating by, big plastic garbage cans from this was in 2017, or I don't know if it was in 2019 also, but yeah, there used to be big garbage cans floating through the river during the floods. Big blue garbage bins. I think were from parks or something by the side of the water. And as the floodwaters rose, I guess they took some garbage cans in with them. Here's a secondhand bookstore, really cool. And by the way, guys, here it is. This is the show that Jack's going to be doing. So I'll be there to check that out. Here's your used bookstore. Peoples and places of the past. Now look at this. I mean, this is a good price for a book. $2. You can't go wrong. Look at this. Hard copy, National Geographic. Great brand of books. Might be old, but hey, it works. Look at this beautiful art here. So, is there pizza left? I don't know if there's pizza left. You know what? We'll come back for pizza another day. Last time I was here, I was with Jack. So, yeah, Adesso Pizza. So we're making our way further towards the edge of town, the eastern edge of town. Yeah, so say it's about 5 degrees Celsius right now. As you can see, some clouds. I don't know if I mentioned this in this video, but the 212 bus is the local bus that runs through Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue. It's a mini bus. Because the streets are so narrow here, they're smaller. Usually it's the smaller bus that can only go through. I guess the bigger buses can fit if they really wanted to, but it's more practical to use the mini buses. Here's some nice flowers budding, coming through, slowly germinating. Last time I did a walking video here, I was actually doing the opposite way. I was starting at the McDonald terminus and making my way west, basically the way I was just coming from, the direction I was just coming from. A lot of old trees here. Of course, we just had that ice storm a couple of weeks ago, or about 2 weeks ago now. And they did a pretty good job cleaning it up, I think. Not so bad, I must say. At least around here. I don't know if we'll see the 212 go by. Basically, it's the same bus that we just saw earlier, the EXO Transdev bus. That same style, pretty much. So now we're making our way to, like I said, the McDonald terminus. That's where all the buses go. And what time is it? It's 7:19. 7:19. So that means, oh, there's a 212. Just spoke about it. There it is. The 212 STM Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue minibus doing its run. So there's the 212. Look at these cool flowers here, budding. Nice. And I'm predicting a very hot summer. I'm predicting quite a few thunderstorms, a lot of humid days, hot humid days. We got some birds up there. And when I was doing my live stream before, I was mentioning that Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue is known as a bird sanctuary, or bird-friendly status. And they have some bird feeder boxes, and all kinds of things for the birds to help them out. And also, there's a lot of variety of birds here, different bird species. And there's the Arboretum Morgan, which is a nice big forest area around here. And then we have the Eco Museum, which is further up near the Morgan Arboretum, that direction towards the north. And yeah, we got it's basically a zoo, but it's a friendly zoo. It's a humane zoo. So it's all the different animals that are in Canada. They have a lynx, they have bears. One of my favorite places. I haven't been in a while, but I will return. They have owls, wolves, you name it. Frog species, snake species. Basically a sample of the biodiversity of Canada. And yeah, you go there and you get to see them all, and it's, you know, animals that maybe have been injured or for whatever reason can't make it out on their own in the wild, so they live there. And it's kind of like they also do rehabilitation, I think, for some of them, and they live there until they're released. So it's a very humane zoo. It's not really a traditional zoo, so it's to help out the animals. And yeah, like I said, really educational. First time I went there was, I think, 2007. Let's go here by the water and check out the water levels here. We got some geese, and then I'll be taking the 211 back towards Montreal, and probably heading to Lino Gru. You got some tree branches here that fell from the ice storm. This is a good area to understand the water level, because when Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue flooded in 2017, 2019, this is where the water was all the way up to here. Yeah, some geese, some Canadian geese. This is what these birds are. Beautiful bird species. Some are friendly, some don't like to be bothered. I think they're known as waterfowl. Yep. Canadian geese. Beautiful shot here of the water, which I may use as a thumbnail. All right. So I'm gonna wrap it up in a couple of minutes. I hear a train, and there's Vaudreuil Pearl over there. Okay, so here's John Abbott College, also McGill campus. I think, yeah, that's pretty much what they have here. Very nice area to walk in the back. We have farms there, like different farms, fields. So a lot of these trees, they did lose branches, but I was mentioning this, or maybe I didn't mention it. You know, ice storms, wind storms, they're not necessarily bad because they sometimes get rid of the weak branches, you know, the weak branches, and they make way for newer ones. So it's kind of like nature cleaning itself up a bit, if you want to put it that way. So as destructive as it looks, this is kind of like a cleaning process for nature. That's how I look at it. And here we got a beautiful spruce or pine tree being planted. I love trees, man. I love trees. Anything with nature, it's so important. Yeah, and I also have the option of taking at 405, I think is still running right now. So film for another minute or two. I'll make it up to 25 minutes. I think that's pretty good for a walking video. Decent. So here's the John Abbott College and McGill University, which, by the way, they're thinking of changing the name of McGill University. So here, this building, part of it's more modern. These are all old. These are very old buildings, but this one here is falling apart. This one here looks decent, but right beside it, the other part, it's in disarray, falling apart. So they're rebuilding that, or they may demolish it. So I don't know. But yeah, very old buildings here. And as we make our way towards the bus stop, the terminus, we get some beautiful trees here in view. Different species, a mix of species. We have here some weeping willow trees in the distance, you can kind of see. A lot of these trees are as old as the buildings themselves. I don't know what kind of bus I'm going to be getting, but there's one leaving. 2900 series. So I think the 405 is out of service. I think it's just a 211 running now. Let's go check out, I got some squirrels here. Some nice squirrels. Beautiful trees. That looks like one that got cut down here somewhat recently, in the last few years. This, you can tell, was a very old tree. I think they mentioned that you can count, or at least predict, or estimate the age of a tree based on the rings around it. So I guess in theory, the thicker the trunk of the tree, the base of the tree, the older it is. And we got seagulls as well. And yeah, here's our 211 stop. And here's the EXO buses. I was mentioning EXO is, of course, the buses that serve the suburbs, more or less. And these ones here go to different areas. Villejoy, Yopero. And that's EXO. And over here is, of course, our bus stop, on my bus stop. Like I said, I may film a bus ride, I don't know. May do a 211 bus ride video. We'll see. But I'll wrap her up here. We got 24 minutes and 15 seconds. I will show you, since I want to make it a nice, even 25 minutes. Even 20, though 25 is an odd number. Here's a nice look at this beautiful tree here, this weeping willow tree. And we got a nice pine tree here as well. Yeah, so here it is, a nice weeping willow tree. Beautiful. One of my favorite tree species. These branches, they're so thin and they just hang right down. Nature is the the best. Have a good day, everybody. Have a good night. As always, more videos to come.